Welcome to Sneakers and Strategies, the podcast where high-level marketing throws on a fresh pair of kicks and hits the streets. Host Nick Kastner will help you find practical, actionable marketing insights that move with you. In Season 3, Nick's switching gears and going all in on Agile marketing. If you're still clinging to rigid plans and red tape, this season's your wake-up call. It's time to move fast, break patterns, and actually get done.
Welcome back to Sneakers and Strategies, the show where we take high-level marketing theory and put shoes on it so we can run with it. I'm your host, Nick Kastner, and today we're just going to dive straight into Agile Marketing Principle 7, build marketing programs around motivated individuals, and trust them to get the job done. Now, if you've been following throughout the season, you know that Agile isn't just about a process, it's really about people. And this principle in particular, well, it's one of the most people-centric ideas in the entire framework. You can have the best marketing tech stack, the best dashboards, the best software, the best agency, the most structured project manager in the world, and the best spreadsheets. But if your team isn't motivated and trusted, those things don't matter. Today, we're going to talk about why trust is really fuel. And motivation creates leverage, and micromanagement actually can poison your entire marketing operation. And that is more true in marketing than any other part of your organization, and for a wide variety of reasons. So we're going to start here and talk about the history of marketing a little bit. Traditional marketing management was built on control. There are approval processes, sign-offs, layers of review. It was really designed for a world where campaigns took months, sometimes years, to ship out. If you've ever seen Mad Men, you know those campaigns get pitched and it takes time to make them actually operate when you go with a big campaign. And I get it. It's really built on a lack of trust of your teams, your marketing staff, or really everyone. I've worked in these environments and I know what it's like. But Agile marketing doesn't really work like that. You can't approve your way to be faster. And you can't inspire innovation with a bunch of red tape. To go Agile, you have to switch from this idea of control mode to more of a confidence mode and a trust mode. And what that really means, you hire smart people, not just to do things or execute strategies, but to think. And you build a clear strategy, and then you let your team actually drive it and do it. And you have to create alignment, not dependency. When a marketer has clarity of purpose and they understand what they're trying to do and they have the freedom to act on it, that's when the real magic happens. Agile teams thrive on autonomy because autonomy builds ownership, and ownership builds motivation. If you've ever worked on a project where you felt trusted, you know the difference. You move faster, you care more, you think bigger. Those projects where every single thing that you do, every time you breathe has to be approved, they're really tough. And there are some areas where that's required, but not when the goal is action or conversion. Because it's hard to accomplish anything if every single ad and every single word has to have a stamp on it from someone else. So the first thing, and the first step to applying this principle is to get comfortable with letting go. Not of accountability, but of getting rid of this idea of unnecessary control. There are areas where control is important, but it's not everywhere. Second, motivation. That word gets thrown around like confetti by leadership teams, in staff meetings. You talk about motivation and you hear that word all the time, especially if you're in a big organization. Motivation isn't about ping pong tables, pizza Fridays. I knew agencies that had like a beer tap in their office for after work. It's also not always about bonuses or time off or financial incentives for marketing teams. And what we're going to talk about, it's really about meaning and momentum. Because the truth is, really good marketers are motivated by impact. when people can see how their work actually connects to something bigger, or when they can see that the idea that they came up with drove real customer engagement or drove a ton of leads or moved revenue numbers, that's rocket fuel for them. That fires us up. It fires me up to do even better the next time, because we want to win. We don't like to lose. And so Agile marketing builds that connection into the system. I meet with clients constantly, and occasionally, it's rare, but we'll run into a bad situation where the client, one, wants control of absolutely everything, or two, thinks we're trying to charge them to death. Neither of these are good. Neither of these are motivational. And at the end of the day, if we meet the goal, we actually meet the goal and we're under their cost per lead that they're trying to reach. We get the win. Oh, none of that stuff matters. Like, if we're meeting the goal and we're getting them where they need to be, all of this idea of control and a lack of trust, none of that matters. But I'm not going to deny that sometimes things take time to build, because some clients that we work with come to us with no structure at all. Like, they've never done some of the things we're presenting, or they've never used the software or never used the tools or never had the structure around marketing. And sometimes those take a second to build. But once the ship is running and running at speed, you don't have to wait 6 months to find out if the campaign worked. You have to test and learn and iterate and see results in real time. Like, you have to have that feedback loop running so we keep people fired up to be better. So if you want motivated individuals in marketing, you really need to give them purpose, give them autonomy, give them freedom, and show them the outcome of their work. And if you're a leader or a CEO or anybody in position where you're dealing with a marketing team or you're a marketing leader, the playbook is literally this. Give your team the why and the what, not every detail of the how. Remove friction and the bottlenecks. And then when they win, celebrate it loudly. Because people don't burn out from hard work. They burn out if the work is pointless, or they feel like they have no control of their own fate. You have to keep the focus on the impact, and the motivation follows. All right, so pivoting back to trust for a second. In Agile, trust is mission critical. Without trust, people hesitate. We double check everything. We feel like we have to wait for approval in every word. We lose speed. We lose confidence. And I've seen this happen. But when you trust your people, when you trust your agency, really trust them, you create velocity. I once worked for an organization that treated every post like a legal filing, right? No joke. It's like 3 or 4 people had to sign off on every single social post before it could go live. And you can imagine how real-time that social media strategy was. Think about the requirements where a social post needs to go live today to be relevant. You'll never be relevant in an environment like that. And sometimes that's required. Like, there are legal requirements in some industries where you have to be that way, and there are others where you don't. But I have an acquaintance that I've met and actually had speak for my classes, and we've done a few things together. Actually, took a whole class down to his office at one point. But he used to run social for a large food retailer, a fast food company. And he created virality and millions in media impressions. And actually, when I say millions, I mean millions of dollars in value in terms of media impressions from a single post. And it worked because he didn't ask. And I've had campaigns where I've found tons of success where I had to break some rules to do it. But we found tremendous success because I didn't ask. And I had the autonomy because my leadership trusted me. So you have to shift to this idea of a trust-based system. Whether it's you're working with an entire team, whether it's one individual, you need to let them build the framework, have the authority to write in the voice, allow them to engage in real time without waiting for a sign-off. Because when you do, you're going to see faster growth, more authentic engagement, and a team that actually enjoys doing their jobs. Trust accelerates everything. Now, this sounds really good, I know, but how do you actually build a team that can do this? Well, you have to just be practical. We have to hire for the mindset, not the skill set. You can hire people that know how to use the software, right? You can do that, but that's a mistake. You have to hire for mindset, because you can teach someone on how to use Sendable, which is a social media marketing management platform, or HubSpot, right? A CRM system, or run an A/B test, or use Google Ads, or whatever it may be. But you can't teach curiosity. You can't teach initiative. You can't teach resilience. Those are the things that are mission critical in marketing. You have to find those. You can teach everything else. Define clear boundaries and then give them freedom within the box, because that clarity creates confidence. You can tell your team exactly what you expect from them, what success is, what the non-negotiables are, but then give them the freedom to figure out the rest, because they can figure out the best path to get there. And you really need to be a coach instead of controlling or micromanaging. Imagine if a football coach tried to go in for every player on the team, right? That's not going to work. The coach doesn't ever play the game for the team. The coach is supposed to prepare them for the win. The coach asks questions, offers context, gives direction, and then steps back and lets them run. That's what you have to do. Next, create psychological safety. Your team should feel safe if they're going to take a risk, if they're going to pitch a new idea, if they're going to admit a mistake. Fear kills innovation faster than failure ever will. So unless you're taking a really big risk, a social post or a failed ad for a minimal budget might have lost you a moment and maybe $100, but it's not going to lose big. You learn to move on. That's the point. Allow them the safety to make those sort of small mistakes. Next, trust is earned, but also given. I hate this, but I have many times been told, we'll trust you once you prove yourself. That's backwards. You have to start with trust and let accountability grow from there. If you say that you're going to trust someone once they prove themselves, then you're never going to trust them, because the expectation is there's always a minimum. And what you really need to do is allow them, don't put a cap on them. Don't put a lid on the box that they're in. Open the lid, let them go. You can trust them once they show you what they can do. Now, let's be real. Sometimes things are going to go wrong. Someone's going to drop the ball. Someone's going to forget to post something. A campaign's going to fail. A mistake is going to go live. A typo is going to be printed. That's when this principle gets tested. And the easy thing is to snap back into this control mode where you add more approvals and you create more bureaucracy and there's more oversight. But that's a trap. When mistakes happen, you have to use them as learning moments, not reasons to get rid of trust or to revoke the trust. Debrief, discuss what went wrong, and adjust the system, not the spirit of it. If your team feels like one mistake will erase all of their autonomy, they'll never take a risk. You'll end up with silence, fear, they'll become slow, and you'll lose innovation and speed. Agile is never about being perfect. None of us are. but it's about being resilient. Again, that's why you hire for that. So I, of course, work for an agency, and one of the things that I think is really important and crucial with agencies is trust. It's part of our brand values at Forum because this idea of motivation and trust applies just as much outside your walls as it does inside. If your agency is constantly waiting for you to approve creative, update briefs, get content back to you, clarify messaging, you're not empowering them, you're handcuffing them. Agile relationships require trust in both directions. You should trust your agency to act in your brand's best interest, and they should trust you to give them space to experiment. The best agency-client relationships are built on alignment, not oversight, not a heavy hand. When both sides share the same vision and values and understand one another, trust naturally follows. So if you're managing an agency or working with us at Forum, trust us and give us room to run, but keep communication frequent and open and honest. That's how motivated individuals become motivated teams. It doesn't matter about an org chart. It has everything to do to allow people to work together and giving them the freedom to do that. Because everybody wants the organization to win. No one's fighting against you. So to recap this idea of principle number 7, we are building marketing programs around motivated individuals and trusting them to get the job done. That's not meant as a nice sentiment. It's strategy for being fast, creative, and driving real results. Because you can't micromanage your way to greatness. And you can't innovate from fear. When you build around motivated people, you're not just building campaigns, you're building culture. And culture, that's competitive advantage. All right, so that's a wrap for today's episode of Sneakers and Strategies. If this hits home for you or you think this is meaningful for your team, share it. Share it with your agency partners because trust really spreads faster when people talk about it. In our next episode, we're going to dive into Principle 8. And Principle 8 is about long-term marketing success and how it benefits from operating at a sustainable pace. So it's not about rocket powering your speed. It's about not killing your team and maintaining a pace that allows them the freedom to create and also allows them to function at their best ability. So until then, keep your sneakers laced, your strategy sharp, and remember, motivated people don't need micromanagers, they just need trust.